Hello, everybody, and welcome back. And as the Group Chief Operating Officer exits our small studio, someone who I would imagine has a torturous schedule over the next 4 days is the Group Chief Executive, Michelle Phillips. A very warm welcome to you. I'm not even going to ask you what that schedule looks like
Don't.
because I'm sure it's hectic. But maybe before we look at Transnet's performance, past, present, and where you're going, just give us a sense of an event like this. How important is it? And what are you doing here?
This event happens annually, as you know. It's almost like um, having a big party and inviting everybody that are important to you and trying to make time to engage with every single one because they mean so much to your business. And that's what the mining endeavor does for us. I mean, transit is so critical for the future and for the current operations of the mining industry, right? And we get an opportunity during this endeavor to not only engage with the customers whom we serve, we are able to engage with the service providers who serve us. We're able to engage with all stakeholders, government, different governments across the region. We're able to engage with all of them. We're able to engage with our funders. So instead of me having, going one day to Johannesburg to have a meeting with someone there, and then another day go to Cape Town, we are able to get everybody, like I said, in one meeting place. And we are able to have really, really robust conversations about what is important to them, but also what is important to us as a business.
Michelle, let me pick you up on that party analogy and inviting everyone. I'd suggest to you, on a serious question, that maybe 4 or 5 years ago, had you invited this constituency to that party, people probably wouldn't have bought you a bottle of wine and they would have come reluctantly. And I think you'll concede that. Is there a better feeling, a better tenor towards Transnet now than there was a couple of years ago? And I'm assuming the answer is yes. So why do you think it is?
It's an absolute yes. Before the mining indaba itself, we have the coal conference. So it's almost preceded by the coal conference. Absolutely positive reception. Customers are very happy talking about how can we help you, right? Completely different from where we've come from. We've had to really go back to customers, rebuild the relationships, with our funders. Our funders are beginning to see the good work. They're beginning to feel the good work. Our customers are beginning to feel the good work. So the reception is a lot more positive. I have people saying to me, since we've come to Cape Town, talking to us about a key account manager in a particular terminal who treats them in a certain way and how happy they are. Somebody in, another terminal, somebody on the rail side. So people are actually calling out my people by name as people who are so open. And I'm so proud of that because this business is about relationships. We can solve and resolve any problem if you have a relationship with your customers and your stakeholders and they are able to say, okay, let's do this together. It's all about collaboration. But you can't collaborate if you have a bad relationship or a toxic relationship with a person. So I'm very pleased with how far we've come. Just the openness of the business, the fact that we are so transparent and we're engaging so meaningfully. But you're right. Chances are I wouldn't have a lot of attendees at the party a few years ago.
How do you think you've done that? And perhaps more importantly, how do you sustain that relationship? Because Transnet is built up of so many different components that you're only as strong as your weakest link. So you're in a good place now, and I think the people would respect and laud that. But how do you sustain it?
Interesting one. When I uh, was acting and was coming into this job, I was asked, what would you do differently? Right? So there are basically two fields. We have people, our greatest asset in Transnet. We needed them to really understand how they contribute to what it is that we do in Transnet.
I guess a lot of them had given up hope, right?
40,000 people. Yes, a lot of them had given up hope. They needed to remember the purpose of being part of this organization. So that's the one. Number two, we had to go back to customers. I really focused on the commercial relationship, talking to customers again, getting them to understand that we need their help and we want to collaborate and work with them, right? But on the people side in particular, we worked on how do we create this culture of excellence and bring that back. People are very proud to be part of Transnet. But we needed that to come back because they were being bashed in the newspapers and we needed them to feel that they mean something again, right? In comes the operations, SOL, GCOO, really structured what it is that we want from our people. If we are able to meet the service levels that our customers require from us, right? It creates that balance that works. So these are the things that we need to sustain going forward. The customer pays the check. The employers are the ones who do the work. We need to keep them both happy. If you get that medium and you get that balance going, the rest of us, the job becomes so much easier. And that, I think, is what brings sustainability to this process.
Quantifiably, what does a culture of excellence actually mean?
Transnet terms. So we look at everything in terms of numbers, right? And the numbers need to speak for itself. So we see the movement to it. I think we still have a way to go.
The word tonnage keeps you awake at night,
It
right?
keeps us awake at night. So the minister says, I want 250 million tons from you by 2030, right? And I'm saying, okay, so how do I do this? I have to, let's do it bit by bit, right? How do we do this? We say, when we took over this business, we were at 149 million tons. So I say to my people, once they reach the 150, don't look back. We're never going back to the 140s. We've surpassed the 150s. We are now into the 160s. And the message again is don't look back, move forward. We've surpassed the 150s. And we want to get you to the 170s and get into the 180s and into the 200s. And you'll see us getting back to the excellent organization that we know we can be. So that's the push. On the container side, I'm saying, colleagues, we need you to move certain container numbers per hour. Let's push, right? We don't want congestion. We need the vessels to be turning around faster. This is the language that translators understand. The translators will sit at the back and they'll write at the back of a matchbox how many moves they've done in the hour. And we need to get that back. I mean, we train our people all the time. We've got probably one of the best training programs in the country. So we're training. We've got an academy that really gets our people learning. And we'll continue to do that. So, I mean, we're making the most and we want our people to feel valued.
Michelle, you're in a better position these days. Surely you can afford notebooks. They don't need to write on matchboxes anymore.
Using telephones now and iPads.
250 by 2030 is a big ask.
Yes. 250 by 2030 is the country target and SA Inc. target. You recall we've invited private train operators to join us onto the network. We've granted 11 of them conditional award. I signed one of the agreements the other day. So we will see these private operators also making use of the network. And we're hoping that as a country, we can get to the 250 million tons by 2030.
Do you think that private partnership collaboration, which is so critical to your success, is happening quick enough?
I think so. We've recently closed on the Pier 2 transaction. So Pier 2 from the 1st of January is operating as a private terminal essentially. We have a 50% shareholding in that, but the operation is being run by a private operator. And that's good because it helped us also on the financial side. And then we've identified a number of other private sector transactions or participation transactions that we will go. We've got about 4 or 5 for this next year that we will go to market with. You know what? People talk to us about the time that it takes and that we are slow. I'd rather be slow and deliver quality than rush and then spend my time in court fighting as to whether I've done the right thing or not. So, let's give the process the time that it deserves because we want to deliver quality. We want to deliver quality transactions because that's what South Africa needs.
But you've got to find that balance between taking the right amount of time
Yes.
and the imperatives that the economy demands. And that's a difficult one to balance.
It is a very difficult one to balance, and there's so many interests that you also need to be mindful of. And again, the conversation is be transparent, be open. This is where we are, and that's why we've been taking people along with us. We tell them exactly where we are, what the status of certain things are, and where we will be and when we will go to market. So these are the messages that we're trying to put out there. Our strategy, Reinvent for Growth, is exactly that. But what it means is, whilst we are changing, let's take the time also for people to understand where we are going. We will be a growing organization.
How would you describe your relationship with government right now, and particularly the minister?
I have an extremely positive relationship with the minister. The minister is approachable. She's accessible. She's there when you need her with some difficult interest. She's there. I prefer to leave all the politics to her, that she do what she's best at. And I think she prefers it that way. And I can focus with Solly on getting this business.
Writing on
where it needs to
matchboxes.
be. Writing on matchboxes if that's the need, or a WhatsApp here and there if that's how it needs to be. We do what needs to be done for this business to get out of where it was. Yeah.
You talk about the reinventing for growth, which is the core pillar of your strategy. What do you think is fundamentally different about Transnet today than, say, 2 years ago? Just one thing that the mining community here can take some encouragement or some solace from.
We come from a history where we are used to, or we certainly got used to, we got very comfortable in being a public monopoly, right? We didn't have to necessarily, as much as we accounted to government, it was really a take it or leave it a kind of a situation. Where Transit is now, not only have we embraced the reforms that the country is undergoing, we've also embraced and worked on these relationships that, as I said, that we should be having with our customers. We understand the importance of collaboration. We understand the importance of making the best of the opportunities that arise. And we are not too scared to go and ask for help. And I think that's the change from where we've come from. I try to also remind my people, let's not become complacent. Even if we do better, let's not become complacent. The hard work continues. But certainly, from a very comfortable space some years back of running it all, the focus for us is let's focus on what we are good at, and we do that as best as we can. And everything else, invite the private sector and let the private sector partner with us and bring their skills and bring their capital. Because at the end of the day, the country grows.
You said you're not afraid to go and ask for help. What kind of help are you talking about, and where does that assistance come from?
Okay. So, look, like I said, we collaborate a lot with our customers. So let me make an example. If you take the coal corridor and the ore corridor, just two examples. Solly, fortunately, have set up these very good structures where we are able to engage with the customers. We share with them everything that is a problem on that line, right? And the customer is
So
able.
typically what?
So typically the state of the network, the state of the line. On the ore line, we have to do rail replacements because the rail is in such a bad state. But we can't do it all. I have 10 days in a year during an annual shut to repair a stretch of rail line. Now we're able to say to the customers, okay, can we agree? Maybe we want 2 shucks. Will that work for you? Yes, we'll give you more time, right? So they'll give us more time. And at the same time, we can say to them, listen, do you have some resources that we can make use of? Yes, we can. So, okay, can we reduce that some of the time that we need to take to repair the network? At the end of the day, they will feel the upside because I'm able to run trains without derailments, which means we're able to move more commodity and we can get more commodity exported. On the coal line, as an example, we collaborate with them on the security side. Sometimes my processes take a bit long. The customers will say, okay, but I can help. Let me bring in a piece of equipment or some resources. And we're able to, do quick governance and utilize those resources and that help. So you can't hide here. because if you hide, the customer's going to feel it because it's their product moving on the life. So the best thing to do is to say, customer, this is the state of the life. You can help me like this. I can help you like this. Let's make this work.
You just used the phrase quick governance. Obviously, governance underpins everything. And I understand that. But the question is, how difficult has it been for you to accelerate that process, to cut through some of that onerous red tape, which, let's be honest, Michelle, has been a hindrance in the past?
Yes. And still a little bit challenging, but I have to say the Treasury now, you talked about our relationships with government. The Treasury has been very helpful. We've engaged with them and we've been able to also secure a number of departures from some of the regulations that make it a little bit more difficult. And that has helped us to, if you look at the rate at which we're getting equipment into the port system, renewing the fleet, a lot of those processes. So let's call it fast track processes, but still compliant processes, because we don't want anybody to get into trouble. But the bottom line is we are allowing private sector onto the network. You can't operate as a public entity when you have to compete head-to-head with private sector entities. And we have to get to a point as a government also to allow Transnet to actually run as an enterprise, which it is. We can't be having these constraints that then, serve rather as obstacles than as a means of doing better business. So we're gonna have to figure that out as well, particularly as the private sector is beginning to get onto our system.
Michelle Phillips, I'm getting the wind-up signal, and I suspect you might have a meeting or two with customers in government. Just finally, what would you ask from the private sector to make this recovery that you've outlined to me so eloquently sustainable in the long term? What do you want from them? You said, we're not afraid to ask for help. You talk about that collegiality that now exists. What's the relationship going forward? Because unless you have that relationship, it's not going to work, is it?
Yeah, so we have to continue to work on the relationship, of course, because there's still a commercial relationship, right? Somebody pays the other for a service that they render. So we have to maintain that collegiate. But you have to. People need to understand what's in it for them, and you have to make the customer understand and believe that with all of the help that we are getting, that there's an upside. All of this is going to be paying off. And you need to be believable. They need to trust you. And that's another thing that we've had to work very hard on, is the trust relationship. But I think we're getting there. And I think, what, I think the important thing is the customers want to be part of the solution. The other important thing for me is the private train operating companies. We are working with them so that we can also prepare them. I want to fill the gap between where we are and the 250 million tons. But then at a point, once we've gotten to that 250 million tons, we're going to be competing heavily with each other. So here's an opportunity for us to learn from each other, but get South Africa working, and then the competition can start, and hopefully the efficiencies goes up as well.
Are you enjoying this gig? Not the interview, the big job.
So somebody asked me the other day, "Are you okay?" And I was quite shocked by the question.
Are you?
You know what? I absolutely love what I do.
Yeah.
They say that if you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life.
I know the feeling. Yep.
Yeah, you know the feeling. It keeps me awake at night. But would I exchange this? Not right now. No.
Michelle
I
Phillips,
love what I do.
thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.
Really appreciate your time, and we will. And round of applause. There we go. Think you landed the message there. We'll continue the series of conversations in just a moment. The next one is with Dr. Andrew Shaw, Partnering for Progress, Scaling PSP Models in South African Logistics. Critical as far as that symbiotic relationship is concerned between the private sector and Transnet. And we'll pick that up in just a moment. Stay with us, and thank you for watching.